it's always weird when the camera goes on. 20 minutes in, you're going to feel completely different.
We're going to have like a 2-hour podcast.
Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Anastasia podcast. Today we have one of my special friends, Sam, not Matt for once, and we are going to be sharing a entrepreneurial story of like women in business, being a go-getter, and I don't want to say defying the odds, but kind of, and giving yourself the opportunity to continue being a dreamer and striving for more and just following the calling on your heart. So, Sam, do you want to tell people about yourself a little bit?
Yes, sure. First of all, I feel like this has been a long time coming. We've been talking about doing like having me on your podcast
Since I was pregnant.
like forever. So I can't believe we're here. So thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here.
Yes. So a little bit about me is I am a wife and a mom, but we're here to talk about entrepreneurial. So I am a business owner and a hairstylist.
I think they'll all blend together because something that is really remarkable about you and that I really look up to you is that you are a wife and a mother and someone who like continued to go after her dreams. And this past year, sorry to interrupt you,
Yeah.
it was so much of a mental struggle feeling like all of my dreams were permanently put on hold because motherhood flipped my life so much upside down.
Mm.
And I had to remind myself of the truth of like, there's so many women that I admire that they get like it changes. And it's not always your life is 100% just this baby. Like it somehow works itself out where you do have room to pursue your dreams. You do have room to be a good wife and like mom, and then have time for your kids and your business and all of the things. So
Yeah. And you do end up learning how to blend it all together. It's not perfect and it takes a lot of work. It's not linear. It's not linear. That's your favorite thing. Yes. No, it's definitely not. But yes, it over time you do get into like a groove. But yeah, so as I said, I am a salon owner and a hairstylist and recently a brand owner of hair extension lines. So I've got a lot of hats going on for me. But um, yeah, I started very young. I was able to get into my vocational program at high school. And the reason why I chose to apply for that, it started in 10th grade. So you had to apply in 9th grade. And the reason I signed up for the program was so funny. I literally think to myself, I'm like, wow, you signed up for this for the weirdest reason. And it turned into be like your whole life. But every year at my high school and middle school, there was this thing in the springtime called the Artisy. And it was like basically like a production over the weekend where kids would get a chance to display their art from art class and different things. And the music the like band would play and the chorus would do something. And it was like parents could come do it, like come watch the kids.
this is every weekend.
No, so it was like once a year in the spring. It was
I was like, that's a lot for
yeah, no. So it was like a way for like anyone who had like artistic children to like kind of have it was like a setup. You walk through it. But if you were in the VOTEC, and it was for all grades from 5th grade to 12th grade, but if you were in the VOTEC program, the VOTEC students would set up and display like what they work on. So even for like the automotive program, I feel like they used to have like an old car torn apart and the kids could like show what they've done. And so in the cafeteria, they would have the cosmetology girls doing nails and hair for little girls. And it was all for free. So if you came to Artisy, you'd walk around, show your parents the stuff, and then you could go get your nails painted and your hair with like, do you remember back in the day, like the little like twisty back things that you'd bobby pin and put like a little bun of curls? And I used to just say to myself when I was in like 5th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade, I was like, I'm going to be the Artisty girl one day. And I just wanted to work that program and I just wanted to like do that. So I applied and got in, and that was my whole high school, like 10th, 11th, and 12th. And it was like, definitely, it was out there a lot more than in my high school. I feel like I remember graduating and being like, oh, I don't think I've had a class with you since like 6th grade, because you're really like pulled into the cosmetology room a lot more than the regular classes. You're doing English and math and gym, but then you are in the other building for so much of the day. So I do feel like I graduated and was like a little separated from some of my friends. And I also went through the stage where everyone their senior year was getting to take like home ec and baking cookies. And I was over in the building for like 3 or 4 hours a day doing hair. And I was like, oh, I want to like take home ec. And then I also like wanted to do that because I wanted to be a mom like my whole entire life. So I was like, oh, I want to like take the class that you get to like hold the baby around and you have to take care of it and it doesn't stop crying, because I just was like, that was considered also like normal and I was not doing the normal.
Mhm.
And I think we all when we're younger like want to be normal or like everybody else. But yeah, it was a big part of my high school life. And yeah,
I think that's really amazing because I grew up in the East Greenwich school system and we did not have things available
no.
like that. We had Votech for like boys, and I think it was like aviation or
Oh
like
wow.
maybe woodworking. There
Mhm.
were maybe some girls did it, but it was like unknown to me. And I really struggled in school. Like I was not um, academically inclined. I'm a hands-on learner, so I even remember I didn't even wanna apply to college. I wanted to go to cosmetology school because I loved beauty, but to me, it just seemed like, why would I continue doing something that I hate, school, like hard school with like books and memorization when I can go get a hands-on when I can
Would have done it.
and my parents didn't let me. And I understand from their perspective, like immigrants, you come to America, you're assimilating, and you're like, okay, a ticket in America to success is your education. Pursue your education no matter what.
Mhm.
And they really wanted me to be a nurse. That's a story for another time. But I just wish, like, even in high school, we had more of this stuff available because my report card reflected my like lack of interest in school boldly. And instead of like when you were just sharing all of that, I see the gift in like you had a passion about something and you got to continue like the development of it and seek it out. And it was born inside of you then, and then it literally has served you your whole life. And like what a gift because so many people are toiling all through their 20s and their 30s like what's my purpose? What am I supposed to do? And it's really hard when you don't know. And I feel like you from a younger age undoubtedly knew what you wanted to do.
Yeah, like, I feel like I did and I didn't, because as I got into the like, the first year you do it, you're just, like, learning everything, and it's, like, fun, and I remember, like, practicing a manicure on my mom, and now I look back and I'm like, "Oh my god, I hate doing manicures," like, what but it was so fun and new. But as you go through, like, junior and senior year, you're more, like, into the nitty-gritty, and I actually got my first job in a hair salon my junior year of high school. It was, like, 2005, and I was a receptionist at a JCPenney salon. And I just thought it was, like, so cool. I was like, "Oh my god," like, I went from working from Dunkin' Donuts to this, and I get to wear, like, black dress pants and heels, and it was great. And then my senior year, we had to do a senior project, but specifically in the cosmetology classroom, and I had to do a salon model. And I feel like everyone in the class at the time wanted to be a salon owner, and, and I definitely was like, "I'm gonna own my own business one day," or because my dad owned a business, and I wanna do that. But I can honestly say I wanted to own a salon back then for the fun of it, and
Yeah.
I wanted to pick out chairs, and I wanted to pick out paint color, and I did have this thing that I wanted to, which is one thing that stuck with me. I always did say that if I own a salon one day, I want it to be a place where people want to apply to, because they're like, "Oh, if I heard that, like, where if you work there, you do really well," or, "I hear that they pay," like, I wanted there to be that thing that made people wanna come work at my place.
That
But
separates you from the rest.
yeah, so that has truly still stuck with me, and I think that's crazy, but I will full-heartedly sit here and say that I had, like, no idea why or what I wanted. So I'm building the salon model my senior year, and I'm just, like, designing it, and I thought I wanted to have a spa side, and Lord, did I learn that I did not wanna do that at the time. But yeah, and I'm simultaneously working at this corporate salon, and I learned real quick that I was like, I am not for the
Girl.
corporate girl world. No, it was the crazy thing to me was we had to attend a meeting, and there was this protocol they wanted us to do. And it was that they wanted you to have the client rebooked prior to taking the cape off. And at 15, 16, maybe 17, I was like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, you have to walk them up to the whole, like, customer service part of it was so taken out of because of a
Mhm.
business-driven decision that I just said to myself, "Oh, this ain't gonna work out for very long. I don't care if there's a 401(k) option here or health insurance benefits at the time." It just was so against
Unkind.
my grain of what I was, like, wanting to do, that I felt like that was very cool for me to realize. And then my senior year, I landed a job where I am currently now, but it was just in more of like a small business atmosphere.
Mhm.
And that was where I was like, okay, I can get behind this. Like, this is my jam.
Working more in a small business setting.
Yes, not in the corporate, like, setting. And also, like, with people and having a leader, someone be my boss, it was just so much. I just liked it so much more.
I know I've actually said this since working with you at your small business, that it's working for a local small business or a small business is actually a life hack for people who are creative and need autonomy and things like that. Because I bartended for 10 years. And that while that was going on, I got the chance to like meet my husband, build a relationship, build the foundation for what we have now. We got married, we bought a house. Then I was like trying to readjust my life and like, what do I want to do? And I'm like, well, the next natural path is corporate world because it's the 401k, it's the structure, it's you have holidays off.
Of what we're told to go after.
Yes.
It is.
And truly, like, you don't think about other jobs as real jobs because, like, real jobs are corporate America. Like, that's a real job. It's what
Or have
everybody,
benefits.
yes, it's
Yeah.
what everybody wakes up and goes and does. I chased a job for a year, and the first day, the first or second day, because I think it was the second day, because that was the high had come down of like, oh my God, I finally got my
I
dream
met
job.
you during that time.
Right around that. I think
You
had
literally
a
said
few
to me, "I
months.
got my dream job."
Yes.
You did, and boy, was it not your dream job.
Yeah. Well, day two, I remember coming home and crying to Matt for
Oh.
hours. And I was like, why did I think that sitting at a desk in front of a computer for 9 hours straight was something that I wanted? Like, I didn't think,
Sounds terrible.
I didn't think beyond, oh my God, I want to work for this company whose like mission I believe in. I love the work that they do, et cetera. I didn't think of the technicality behind it. And it was so opposite to like what my core was. So again, I didn't know what I wanted to be doing, aligning with my purpose. The only thing at that time in my life that I knew is when something felt very wrong. Like that was my only guiding factor. So it's like I didn't necessarily know what I wanted to do, but I knew what I was doing wasn't it. But nothing is ever in vain. It was a season where I learned a lot of skills that I actually got to transfer into your small business, which was
Definitely.
great because a lot of like the organizational structure, reformatting and of things helped.
Mhm.
But all of this is to say, all of this was the hack of working for a small business, the type of appreciation and dependability, like community that you get, like that corporate America pretends like you matter, you're a part of this team. You actually are that person in a small business setting because you're a smaller team. There's accountability. You all rely on each other.
Yeah.
The work each person does matters. And it's like a passing of the baton. And actually, my neighbor down the road, her name is Mickey. She really struggled from corporate setting to corporate setting. She's like, her kids are grown now. Like she's been doing this her whole life. And every single time her company is going through restructuring and downsizing, I would like see her when her and her husband would walk the dog. She'd be so stressed. She'd like restructuring everything at our jobs again. And it puts the employees in this place of like, it doesn't matter how many years you've dedicated to the job. At the end of the day, you're just an employee that's replaceable. And I remember talking to her, I'm like, you should check out local businesses, like a small business where after a career, like a lifetime of you being such a good, diligent worker, someone out there is waiting for someone dependable like you. She has now, for the past 2 years, worked for a local lawyer's office. She loves her job. She's highly valued. And she's like, small business was the key.
Yeah.
Like, this is, this relationship, this was over the course of 6 years. But it's like every single time I see her, she's like, we're really busy, but it's really good. Like, she hasn't been happier. And it's just so cool.
Yeah, and like you said, people like me are like waiting for those people to come because they do matter, and it is such a difference than a corporate where, like you said, it's just everybody, like, you don't matter, like, they pretend that you matter, but really you're just like a number or anything. And with our business, I mean, the salon, we need everyone to like work together. And like I say all the time, like, my team is my most important thing. Like, can't I can't have the salon that I want to have without a team inside of it, because otherwise it's just like four walls with like me cutting hair and a name on a sign outside. But like the salon business is what it is because of the team inside.
I feel like something that's very known with Salon Stella is the culture. I think you've done a very good job with building culture within your four walls, and it's more than just a job people show up to. Like, truly, all of the girls are friends.
Yeah, some of like the coolest friendships I've watched start inside that building. And then even after people choose to leave, I'll see online, like, there are some girls that are in each other's weddings, and they did not know each other before coming to work there. And so I think that's like the coolest thing.
Yes, it's interesting because in corporate America, you're, like, friends with your coworkers, but there's always, like, a part of yourself that you have to shield because of, like, the rules and the structure of corporate
Mhm.
America. You have to fit into their mold. The gift of small business is, like, you get to be yourself, and it's like a take it or leave it, and actually people are so different, but you can respect because everybody works so well, like, to harmonize and help each other in the day to day, that despite everybody's differences, you all still get along and see the positive traits in people, and it's just been, like, it's really fun.
It is fun.
So, I wanna go, like, you worked at JCPenney, and that was a very corporatized structure,
Yeah.
and then I want you to take people on a little bit of a journey of what it was like, your next job, like, what drove you to leave JCPenney, I
Mhm.
guess, and then salons in today's world are structured in 2 pay,
Mhm.
styles. There are salons where you can rent chairs, and a stylist will just, like, rent a spot, and they choose their pricing, and they buy their own,
Yep.
hair
Prod
materials
Yeah.
and products and stuff like that, or they go and they work for a business where they earn commission and you get like a set schedule, but the salon owner provides product, retail, etc. So, could you tell me a little bit about that? Because I know you've experienced both, and I want to
Mhm.
know why you landed on the way that your business is run.
Yeah, so what really led me to leave the JCPenney from my junior year to my senior year is actually I do look at this moment and I'm like, wow, that was like a gift, or that was really cool that I was chosen, or maybe it was just you're always talking about like the timing has to be right. My cosmetology teacher did know that I would just come into class like complaining about certain things, and the previous owner who I worked for 8.5 years, 8 years, did call the salon, and she had just purchased the salon and wanted someone because she was from that program as well. And I think she wanted to find someone, start them out young, build them up. And so my teacher said, hey, I just got a call before I offer to anybody else. I know you're like unhappy. Do you want to go?
Okay.
And I thank her for seeing potential of like not overlooking me because I already had a job, but she was like, "No, like, I want Sam to, like, find her way." So I was, like, grateful for that, and then I feel like I'm getting, like, emotional.
Oh, so sweet. Do you want a tissue?
I feel like she could have been like, "Oh, okay, like, Sam's got her after school job, like, I'm gonna move on to the other girl that I see." So I was, like, super grateful for that, and I was super grateful that, like, this owner, despite my journey that I had with her and the good and bad I learned, I still cannot deny the fact that I was a gift to get the job.
Yes, and it was meant to be a part of your story,
Yeah.
and I think, like, right now, like, you're having a moment where I don't know if like, I always look at these as a faith thing. Like, when something worked out so effortlessly and a door was open for you, like, that is a God thing because it was God being like, right through, and literally, like, I know I talked to you about the devotional that I read, but even today, it was a quick little devotional. I took the dog out in the morning, and it was talking about how God has different purposes for us in different seasons of our life, and she was saying, like, "You don't get one job and think, 'That's it. This is my job for the rest of my life.'" And that actually is how we used to be conditioned.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah,
I have friends that think that way.
and she talked about your purpose, like, you have multiple purposes throughout your life, and she's like, "If you don't see, like, where your purpose is right now or where it's going, you have to trust that, like, God is always working on it behind the scenes for the greater good." And, like, I'm right now, you're sharing this, and I'm thinking, like, "Of course God did that." You're like, "Wow, what a gift that my teacher picked me or, like, thought of me," but I'm like, "Of course she did," because that was a God thing. It was an automatic, like, "You're meant for
Mhm.
this." Like, you're already in such alignment with your God-given gifting.
Mhm. Sweet. So, like I said, I worked for her for a while, and I graduated and I got my license, and I was like, "Oh, I'm so, like, cool. I'm, like, 18 and I have my hair license, and I have this, like, full-time job." And I did go to CCRI for 2 years where I did take business classes. I felt like I was in that. I'm very lucky my parents never said anything about me wanting to do the VOTEC. They were never like, "Well, are you gonna go to a 4-year school?" I was very lucky, they just let me do what I wanted. But I think part of me was like, "Aren't I supposed to go to school too? Like, am I s is like, the world says you have to go to college."
Mhm.
So I did the whole CCRI thing. I got a certificate in entrepreneurship, and that was a lot balancing working for her full time because I really barely cut my hours down and took like 4 to 5 classes a semester. But it was 2 years and I powered through. And in that time, I learned a lot from her. I took a lot of classes. I did start to learn the different structures, as you had mentioned, about the hair industry, which I had dabbled in learning about in school. They always kind of teach you that. And then I actually tried out being an educator for a little while with a color line because we were switching color lines and they said, "Oh, we're looking for people to teach." And I was just like, "Oh, this would be so cool. Like I can work behind the chair X amount of days and then on Mondays I can go and like travel to different salons and teach them the color." And what better educator than to have somebody like behind the chair using the product and then speaking about it. So I tried that for a while.
Do you think that sparked interest in you with enjoying like teaching?
Yeah, I do because I do remember that for a little while I thought I wanted to be a teacher. So I think I had a little of that teaching in me and everything, although I thought I was going to teach like little kids, not women. But I do. I think that was like a lot of fun. And it was so much fun going to different salons and meeting all different types of hairstylists in different states. So that was really fun. But I did always find value in the structure that I was working in. Like I started off hourly and then I switched to commission and I think I always knew working in the team atmosphere and having someone to turn to was important and the dependency on like a weekly check was nice like cuz you still get that. So you do feel like you're working like what we mentioned like a regular job. Like
Mhm.
I was getting up, I went to work, I did my thing. I made tips on the side and I got a check direct deposited on Fridays and like life was great, you know? So I always think that that spoke to me that I could be this great hairstylist and come and do my thing and go home at the end of the night. Like
Mhm.
that was, but I always did kind of want more. Like I sometimes was like, I don't know if I just want to like go home at the end of the night. Like I feel like I want to be more involved. So what led me to try out the whole renting a chair program that I did was things got a little rocky and I was not in a good space and I decided to leave my very dependent, comfortable 8-year job. I mean, I started there when I was 17. Flash forward 8 years, I looked at myself and I said, "This has been like my whole life. Like, I don't know anything else. This is crazy to me." And I was like, "Do I just continue working here for the rest of my life? And this is just what life is all about. And I just have to deal with it. And you're always going to have a boss that, like, doesn't make you happy with everything, but you can say, oh, well, there's good here." Like,
Mhm.
and it just got to the point where I said, I gotta go try something new. So I went and tried renting a chair for just a little while.
I really appreciate you sharing that because in real life, there is turbulence. It's not always perfectly smooth. And I like that you shared looking back, you're so grateful for the experience of working under the boss that you did. And I think like this is what your youth is for. And people say this all the time. Like when you're not married with kids tied down, they're like, if you have turbulence at a job and you're kind of just really feeling like, I want to go see what else is out there, I want to try, you feel like there's something more, that's your time to do it. And I remember this in corporate because, like, I feel like a lot of the older people who would work there, like, would be unhappy with the, like, lack of raises in their pay, and then the younger generation would be like, "Well, why don't you just get another job?" And it's like, duh. That's what it felt like for us, but for them, it's, "Yes, but I have the history here, and my family depends on me and the mortgage," and it's but I also think it's like a muscle. It's building that like, well, but I trust myself and no matter where I go, I'm gonna make it work out.
Mhm.
And it's just, the social shift, I guess, between generations. So you go and you try something new. And
Well, I feel like I need to back it up just a minute because you hit a good point. I had moved out and was living on my own. So there was a little bit of that, like, but I have a check every Friday to pay for my rent and my electricity and my food. And I know I can go out with my friend once a week. So it wasn't like marriage and kids, but I definitely had those like independent thoughts where I had to say, okay, like, can I just like pick up and move right now? Cause like, this is so comfortable what I'm doing, despite the fact that I'm unhappy every single day. And then I think what ultimately pushed me to take the chance, leave that job, and go find another one was that throughout those few years, I think I had found the pockets I'm unhappy and me wanting more. And I was driving around towns looking at like vacant lots or like vacant little like strip mall buildings and perusing Craigslist at the time because we're in the year of like what 2009 or 10 or 11 at this point and seeing if there were like salons for sale. And then I had an opportunity at one point to purchase a business and it didn't work. Like it was not the right time, it was just everything about it was so wrong. And in my gut, I just was like, this is not it. So I think leading up to all those things, I said, this is my next step to maybe doing that independent and filling my cup up in a different way. Maybe being the little baby entrepreneur that I thought I wanted to be. And if it's not going to be as a salon owner, maybe this is like what it's going to be, which was led me to like say, I will go rent the chair and I'll see what that's like.
You're like, I was unhappy at work every single day. I started like kind of seeing what was available on the internet, driving around looking for vacant spots. So many people don't even give themselves the ability to do that. I am sure you've seen it as an employer, but so many people just get stuck in the unhappiness and they can't help themselves. And I feel like bartending, my last like 3 years, I was like very unhappy because I was just tired. It was boring. I didn't want to be doing it anymore. And in corporate America, like I really remember thinking, I don't want to get stuck here for 10 years because I hate this. Like it felt like such a crime against who I was as a person and what I was supposed to be doing, even though I didn't know what I was supposed to be doing. I just knew it felt like I was like not living up to my potential. And so many people, they just stay where they are. And it's easier to just complain about everything that is unhappy, that makes you unhappy and isn't fair and things like that. And it's so easy. Yes. And it's so easy to blame the boss. It's the boss's fault. It's all this. And at the end, it's the company's structure's fault. And I think when we grow up, there's always that you go through in your late teens and your early 20s before like you have a little bit more life experience and you understand how things happen because it can by default. Like I had a moment in my 20s being like, Anastasia, like what's the common denominator in all these stories? It's always the boss. It's never me. And I'm like, no, there has to be self-responsibility.
Yeah.
What was it? It's I don't like being told what to do. I'm like, so I need to stop working in places where someone is dictating every single little thing about what I do, because then it is going to be like, oh, the boss, this, the boss. And I think like, well, my way makes more sense. My way, like, do you see we can get to the same conclusion, but it's faster or whatever. And when there's so many technical things in place and you don't have that autonomy, I wish I could go back and talk to my younger self and be like, you're unhappy because it's not for you. Like,
Yeah, and creative freedom is something that can come in different forms, I think, and for you, I think it's like getting from point A to point B how you see fit, not staying in a box. That led me to go rent a chair. The craziest, funniest thing I think about where I landed to uh, pick this salon to rent a chair in, my dad used to take me here to get haircuts, and his hairdresser that was cutting his hair before I stepped in to cut his hair was still working there. And I thought it was like the craziest thing. And she was like, I cannot believe you're here, like applying for a job. So anyway, I met this woman. She was fabulous. She took me in. I just started, showed me the ropes a little bit. I honestly, looking back, I'm like, oh wow, I kind of did a couple different things wrong. But she at that time was my only person. Not that she told me to do certain things wrong. I just, being the business owner I am now, I'm like, wow, okay, now I understand even more. But I did it. She showed me. She welcomed me. All of the ladies there welcomed me in. Um, it was great. I have no complaints, and I can truly say, as someone who has done both things, both structures, there is room for each, I think, in people's lives, and I can prefer one now over another, and I can see why for some people it's better. But if someone said, like, well, I would prefer rent a chair, I can say, I understand. Like, I went and did it and saw the pros and cons of it.
I know that's one thing that you and I have talked about over the years, because I think right now I've known you for about 5 years, and you've said that like regarding employees who have like wanted to go and try something else, you're like, I can't hold it against anyone because I get it, because I was exactly them, and you don't know until you go and you try it for yourself.
Absolutely. I think it's kind of like when I tell my kids if they don't say they don't like a food, I'm like, well, you didn't try it. So I can still sit here and say that I have strong feelings on the pros and cons of each, and that's my choice. But if someone wants to go try it, go right ahead. Sometimes the grass is greener, and most of the times it's not always greener on the other side. And sometimes being your own boss is not all it's cracked up to be. But I do think that if anyone has the inkling, like I would rather support someone in not going through life wondering like what if, because I like, and even what, so then I was there and it was great, and I was, I had to buy my own product, and I had to learn about write-offs, and I had to have a ton of structure and what's the word I want to say here? We've talked about discipline. Thank you. Because I had to set my own hours. And it is so easy, and I've watched this happen with other stylists, that when you get the cancellation on a Thursday at 3, but you're supposed to work till 6, it is so easy to get excited and mark yourself off and then just say, "Oh, well, I got a cancellation, I'm out of here." But ultimately, like, you have to leave that open until the very last minute, because when someone texts you 24 hours before and when you are like, "Oh, I was gonna leave that day," like, no, like, I had to have so much discipline to, like, keep my hours what they were, and granted, yes, I was gifted flexibility, and yes, if I wanted to mark myself off, I didn't have to ask a boss for it anymore, but that was something I really had to learn, and I think I've seen other stylists, like, really struggle with, because then at the end of the week, they're like, "Well, why did I only make this much?" Well, probably because you only worked 12 hours out of the 40 that you were supposed to, because you got excited every time, and every time you got plans to, like, go out on a Friday night, you just scribbled your schedule off, because back then I was using everything paper and pen too, because that's how, old school it was, but yeah, so I had to learn the discipline of that, and to say I did it successfully, like, I think I did okay. I think now, as a wiser business person, I see that if you choose that structure, you have to be that. You have to be very business oriented. You can't just go that route for the sake of, well, I'm not wanting to do what other people are told.
And then I think, like, oftentimes it's the money appeal. It's like, well, my take home is more. And I know, like, I don't know anything about this world, but I know at the end of the day, like, the discipline has to be there, because you have to put money aside for taxes and things like that. And you don't want to be scared at the end of the year. But I'm even thinking, kids, like, you already had discipline of working under someone else for 8 years, but then also JC Penney. So like what, 10 years
Yeah.
plus? And everybody's natural wiring is an underlying, like, very real thing as well. And I think you had mentioned your dad is self-employed. He has his own business. Your brother is like an entrepreneur as well. Part of your guys' genetics and coding is you guys do have discipline. And it doesn't mean it's just so easy for you. No, it's like, it's literally like anything else, and you have to actively choose it. And how easy is it for kids fresh out of either beauty school or a VOTEG program to want to choose the other route, because you're leaving every single day with the money in your pocket?
You definitely touch a lot more cash, and you definitely feel cash rich. And I remember thinking, after doing that, I said to myself, "Oh my God, there was this whole other I can't even believe I let her do that to me." Like, this anger, because I saw the other side of, like, what was made at the end of the week. Then I learned to pay for everything,
Mm-hmm.
and then I had to pay the taxes. And also, there was no one to cover education for me, and I quickly saw that that actually wasn't the case. So I am the person that saw the other side and said, "Wow, like, why was I only getting paid this?" Or whatever those thoughts may be. But then I really saw the other side.
I think it's fair to say too, the type of visionary that you are, like the type of entrepreneur and business like mindset that you have, you didn't just want to, like, no, I like own this building and that's it. Like, you have always propelled yourself, like, you have a dream, you achieve that goal, and then you pick a new goal. And like, you've always self-propelled and worked and worked and worked. And this is like no shade to anyone, like, because we're all different and we all have different talents and different purposes. But I think if people don't have the continued like propeller of like the, okay, and what's like, we did it. So now what's next? Renting a chair is like a great place, because you set your temperature, right? You set your temperature for
Absolutely.
what do you want it to look like. I think your subconscious of, even down to like you being so little and being like, well, I want to do that program. Like, there was always something lit inside of you that I think renting your own chair would never fulfill fully, like this calling within you that you
No,
may
because
not
I
even
still
know was
didn't
on.
have the ability to, like, technically, like, call all the shots, and not that I think, after working with me, like, I'm very much take in people's opinions, and I do a survey every year to, like, see what I don't like to, like, call the shots, but at the end of the day, you are still kind of working for someone, because 'cause you're renting a space from that owner, and
So you can't like decorate the space.
yeah, all the fun stuff for sure, you can't do that, and at the end of the day too, it's that person's, like, structure or the culture that they're
Mhm.
bringing, and I just really did know that, like, there came a point where I thought, like, that was what my life was gonna be like, and I actually came very, like, at peace with that, because I thought, "Wow, all this time I'm gonna search for a little strip mall place and do a salon, or I'm gonna find one that's, like, being sold by someone who's, like, older and wants to get out of it." And then I got my job at the salon where I rented, and I was like, "Well, you know what? that's okay. Like, I'm good here. I'm happy now. And like, maybe that just like wasn't the cards. And I came with like such peace with that. And then I think that's what's the wild part is because I came with such peace that the salon came.
So I want to dive into that. Like, because what was your transition back into not only the different pay structure, but like the dream came knocking
Hmm.
and you were not making decisions from a place of pain of like, again, like when you're unhappy at a job, it's like, well, I got to get out of here. It's like the feelings are so hard driving. And you had said an opportunity had come up to buy another salon before, but in your gut, it did not feel like the right time. Did the like peaceful feeling that you settled in when you were renting, was that in part because of what was going on behind the scenes?
So I think a lot of the peace that came with it was definitely there was the work atmosphere and then there was like the personal life. So like part of my 8-year working with the previous owner that I worked for 8 years out of high school, there was like a long-term relationship there that ended, and that was wild. And then there was, I had met somebody else, but I just knew that wasn't the right one too. And so while I was at the rental salon, I did meet my now husband. Didn't know. I mean, maybe I thought right away, I was like, I might marry this guy. But I do think that there was the piece on the personal level where I feel like I had some puzzle pieces come together and it was good.
So the opportunity to buy the salon came.
Yeah. So this is like a wild story because I think it's just like right place, right time again. One of my customers,
If you write a book, it should be right place, right time.
I do want to write a book. I feel like I'm mentally up to like chapter 19 with everything that's like happened or things I could write about that would make people laugh or say wow. But
Or gasp in horror.
yes, yes, and be like, wow, I had no idea. So I the opportunity to purchase a salon was like a like a team effort because I did have somebody who I was cutting their hair, who is now turned to family, but he had gotten a call about the salon building per se and an opportunity to purchase like the building itself. Having been cutting his hair for years, like through breakups and through, I mean, this guy at the time, he's just like such a good friend. He knew my searching of salons or he knew my like
Story.
story of just like wanting more and everything. And he's a business guy as well. And so he kind of came to me and was like, hey, do you want to like make this happen? Like, do you like, is this salon, like, do you want in? And I had a moment where I said to myself, oh my God, I've waited for this forever. Like, I helped hang the doors in that place when it got remodeled. Like, I didn't own it at the time, but I helped eat pizza on the floor at 11:30 at night, painting the walls with the old owner and like all this stuff. So like there was such a part of me that was like, I have to. But the crazy part was that piece. I just thought to myself, like, oh my God, I just thought I got this figured out. Like
Mhm.
I
You're not
I'm
ready for another uproar.
I'm like, yeah, I was like, why does this happen to me all the time? But the what if factor that I said I wouldn't want someone to live their life wondering, I just knew I had to. And so we teamed up and Salon Stella was born.
This is like fun for me as your friend because I like know bits and pieces of this, but you're giving me like a really exclusive, yeah, behind the scenes. And I know like right now with so much of my world tied into Salon Stella is getting like right now in 2025 coming to 2026, we're at a place where a lot of the dreams that you've always had for Salon Stella with design, functionality, vision, etc. I'm finally getting a chance to help you a little bit
Mm.
because when I was behind the desk for a few years, it's like all coming together. It's I saw the vision that you had, but I really saw the behind the scenes of there was no time. Like there was no time when your salon is open and fully running, and you always brought it back to it's just so hard because the salon closed, like this physical building closed on a Tuesday night under one name, and we opened on a Wednesday morning under Salon Stella.
And she's not lying right there. That is exactly how it happened. I feel like one credit card machine slip printed out under one business, and the very next day it was like labeled as something else. And it was crazy. And yeah, that's exactly how it happened.
And you have to have like stamina and fortitude for being okay with things not being on your own terms to a degree. And it's like, I've actually said this to you recently, like the type of person you are that I've learned is you're very good at assessing, like, this might not be exactly like how I would have pictured it or envisioned it, but the opportunity is here. I can see it like as a whole, and this is the right move, and I'm going to do it.
Mhm.
And you because the other side of like having to take on the business in that kind of aspect, you guys then it's like painting it after the salon closes, like on weeknights, on weekends,
Mhm.
holidays, like the only like times that a business would be closed, you guys are working overdrive. And that's why a little bit works with my life right now because I'm like, who can come babysit Magnolia at my house at 5 o'clock? Like, which one of
Yeah.
my siblings? And then I can pop over to the salon. But you've expressed like over the years, and this doesn't even really tie into the story, but like you just wish it was done, because it's your second home.
Yes, and it's hard because so many people do get that opportunity to do everything and have it be picture perfect for the day they opened, but I didn't. Like, I took it over. We all met at the salon one night, and I surprised the girls that it was me taking it over because they were told that someone was taking it over and didn't know, and I pulled up and they were like, "What?" But
Wait,
yeah, like, I didn't get to do any like, it didn't get to close and even have a long weekend to, like, I don't even know, like, move a coffee table in an area where I thought like, I had to take over something that was so like, existing that was not my dream. I didn't get to go into a empty strip mall building or, like, this b building with a ton of glass and, like, paper it all up and have no one see what was inside. I don't even think I allowed myself at that moment because the wall color was horrible, and I
okay.
don't even know I didn't even in that very moment, like, when I signed the papers to be an owner and, like, told the girls, I didn't even know in that moment yet, like, what color I wanted to refresh the walls. It all happened fast. I think it happened for a reason. I wouldn't change it, but it was not an ideal situation, and I think I can honestly say I don't think a lot of people would I think a lot of girls who like things pretty and Pinterest perfect would not have maybe have, like, gone forward with it the way I did, but I'm happy the way I did. But it has left me almost 11 years later with just wanting it to, like, be done, as you're saying, and it's
Mhm.
been hard. We've gotten to close down for, like, long weekends or holidays, like you said, and I think it's funny too is we're touching on a lot of, like, decor that's not done right now, but I also was 25 when this opportunity came around, and I look back and I'm gonna be 37, and I just am like, "Wow, that girl's a baby."
Mhm.
Like, Sam the baby, not married yet, no children. I just was like, what was I doing? I had no structure. I didn't have a handbook made yet. Like, there was so many things that I did on the fly while simultaneously, like, learning how to do it on the go. It was
We talk about this expression a lot, done is better than perfect.
yeah.
And when I even talk about like having kids, I'm like, I kind of wish I had kids earlier because there's something about your 20s where you're like, okay,
I know, you just kinda roll with it. Yeah, you don't think
let's do it.
twice.
And you like bulldoze your way through it. And I think like our brains are not as obviously are not as developed as they are like in our 30s, or maybe our understanding about things and life and
Mhm,
processes and how we like order. And listen, I don't want it to be chaotic. Like we are chaotic in our 20s to a
mhm,
degree, even if you do have discipline. So you are much more malleable and like, yeah, it's not what I want, but like I'll figure it, yeah, I'll just stay late. I'll just do it on the weekends and things like that. And then I think just as we get older, like different levels of responsibility, like how you've grown your business and things like that. And I think that's where that desire for like, I want this chapter to be done. And we are like so close, I feel.
mhm. I think it also too, like, the renovations or, like, the slight little, like, upgrades are for functionality because the place was not functional.
Mhm.
It was crammed in.
To some degree, though, I think of it like home ownership. So many people, like, your home constantly has to be maintained. And
I was maintenance. The building is coming up on needing maintenance anyway, so then there's things that are just like, "Do I wanna do this right now?"
well, while we're here,
But
let's just
while
do
we're
it all.
here, okay, like, do I wanna buy a bunch of chairs right now? No, but, like, they're also getting to the point of, like, literal wear and tear over X years that this just and it just is which is part of business. Nothing's ever done. Your home, like you said, is always gonna
Yes.
be maintained, but there you do wanna get to a place where, like, you can come to work
Mhm.
and it's just done, and people love to come into the salon and say, "Oh, you're always moving stuff around." Well, sometimes not all by choice.
Yeah.
It's hard, and it's just yeah, it's just gone through a lot and needed a lot. It's been a lot.
Well, it's like your baby, and it really is like your house. Like, how many times do you move around furniture at your house? Because you just
Mm,
need to like, you need the feng shui to be a little
yeah.
different, and you want to get a little different feel. And when like, just like a house, just like your business, you're working within the same four walls that you have. As like businesses grow and have different needs, that is where a lot of that interest in changing things comes from. Because it's like, okay, how do I serve the needs that my business needs right now. You know, like there were periods of time where you guys would double, triple book and things like that versus now how things, I'm not even here to get into the technicalities of that. But I think the biggest thing for me is realizing, yes, there is this like longing in us that is always like, I just want to be done. But at the same time,
you have to be able to adapt, and so much change happens, and that's also caused so much of the transitions at the salon because, like you said, technical stuff, but like styles change, so timing changes. So how many people you can take changes, how many people you have working change. Like there's so many things that's also led to the constant changing. But I also think that that's like a great thing in business is to be able to take that to adapt rather than be like, "Eh."
you're also defining your like identity and stuff too, and the functionality. But I even think of like if you do a house that's like a new build, like all the time in real estate, you see like, oh, this house is stuck in the 2000s. And it's like, yeah, and at one time that was the house, you know, it was like everything's the latest and greatest. And it's just my mom like always tries to remind me with design to like try to like lean into timeless more because you don't want to be a slave to like in 5 years you're so sick of it because it was so trendy. And it takes time to develop that. So I think a lot of it is longevity. There's like you want to do the quick fix, but then a lot of it is like what is like soothing, what feels grounding, what feels most purposeful, most functional, etc. And now 10 years in, you really have like a very clear vision for one, what you want, but also what you need your business to do to serve you and your team
Yeah, and I feel like you honestly can't get that clarity
until you're in it.
until you're in it, and you can have, just like me at 17, 18, building a little foam model of a salon thinking I wanted it one way. It's kind of like motherhood. You don't know till you're in it and until you're like walking it. So you find out it like while you're in it.
I want to ask you like what some of your, you know, because it's like fun and exciting and you're 25 and you're a salon owner. What was like your first, I don't want to say like, oh shit moment, but what was your first like, did I get in over my head moment?
Oh, that's a really good question. I don't know if I can pinpoint one in particular moment. I also think that I've had so much go on. I feel like I look back and I'm like, how do I don't even remember the first like 3 years of owning the salon. Like it was such a fast blur. I also got engaged and got married and had my first baby all and even a second baby all within before like the first 5 years. So it was such a fast-paced time for both business and personal life that I do specifically remember though. I don't know if it was an in over my head statement, but our first day open, we worked, things went well. I was so panicked that the credit card machine I was switching over wasn't going to work, but something did happen with the credit card machine, and I was like, I have to fix this myself. And it hit me that there was
No one.
no one for me to call because I was now the one to call. It was so crazy feeling that there was no person for me to call and be like, this is not working. What do I do? And everyone was just looking at me and I was like, wow. And then it was like a busy day. I had a couple appointments because they were pre-booked. And again, going back on the like, couldn't make it perfect. I like had to keep these people's appointments. And I just left late and tired. And I was just like,
Were you a little
okay.
defeated?
I was like, wow. And I don't want to say I said the words to myself, like, what did I do? But I just think I said like, wow, like there's no
I made a
one.
big decision.
Yeah. And I was like, there is no one to call. I also had moments like that too. I remember the first time I had to like sign and fax over and do everything for one of my employees' mortgage papers. And I was just like, I'm gonna send something over here to it's gonna like to help someone buy a house. Like that is like so grown up. And I'm still like trying to sleep in on the weekends or something. Like that was another crazy, and that's not a bad one. It was just like, okay, I have a lot of responsibility. And I think that those little things, although they weren't like tragic chaos problems, that was what really hit me. I was like, I did not just buy a salon to decorate it and like make the shots and like say how much the haircut was gonna be. It really hit me that it was so much deeper than that.
You're like realizing the ripples. And then something that I actually want to ask from like more of like a listener perspective, I guess, is you're friends with all your coworkers. What was the dynamic like going from friend to boss? And the angle I guess that I'm trying to get out here is like, when did you know that like you can't be both?
This is a great question. I think it's great because that is something that maybe I heard the term of like you can't be both as a kid, but like boundaries weren't a thing when I was growing up and getting into hairdressing school and first for my first job there was definitely no boundaries there. I think in the beginning the dynamic was fine, because I can't speak on behalf of them, but how the salon was going, I think because I had stepped away and came back, that was better than if I had to like tiptoe around them knowing a secret, like while working side by side them. I was removed. I kind of got to like take a break from everybody. A couple of them I remained friends with. A couple of them I kind of like went quiet with just because it was like, I think we were all like in shock that I even like left or something. But I think coming back, maybe there was a sense of like relief or excitement for the new change. So I think that that was, and again, I can't speak for sure on for some of them. I'm just thinking like based on like how the beginning was and things that were said to me. I think there was like excitement and relief for like, oh my God, I'm happy she took it over. There was no like problem. Maybe that's what I think. And we remained friends for a while. I think it was more than one incident, or not an incident, but like moment where I did start to see the transition happen. I think you know this about me. Hence, I already cried once on here, but like I'm sensitive. I have empathy. I overthink things. I can people please. You want to be a people pleaser, especially as a new boss. You're like, I took over to like make my employees happy.
You want
So
7 days off this week?
sure, great. Like if you want to have all this stuff, like of course, let's do it because you that's like what I'm here for. I'm here to make your job easier because I never had that. Like that's what you're go into it thinking. But then the moment started happening where like the secrecy of them all going out on a Friday night without me happened, and I was like, oh, like no one wanted to message me, and it was the people that I was doing that with, I think, with my old boss, because we were like, why would you want to go out with your boss? Like, sometimes you just need to be like, oh my God. So I was like, well, now, girl, I'm that person. And then there'd be like a party that would happen that I wouldn't know about. Or then sometimes I think I could just sense it was the invite to be nice, but like maybe hoping I wouldn't go because that way they could all have their fun,
Their break.
and their break, or just be themselves without having the boss
Mhm.
being there. And maybe they wanted to have like a bunch of drinks, but like felt like they couldn't do that. I mean, and so I did start to separate myself more and more. And
I'm sure it was hard, and it
so
was, like,
hard.
a hard pill to swallow because
Yeah.
these are your friends and these are the people that you were going out with, and
The history of it too, like I had gone to high school with like one of that, like there was this long-term history of being friends that I was like, how do you turn that off? But yet, how do you remain a boss without like, how do you not cross those lines? Because you can't like you like, and everyone wants to be friends,
Mhm.
and you can be friends to a certain extent, but
Mhm.
it did have to get turned off at some point.
Yes, and then there's also an entire transition of, like, it not being personal as well because
Mhm.
of the history and things like that,
Yeah.
and it's a
And I
really
definitely was the one taking it personal at first because I think they were just not even thinking of it. Like they were just, it was natural for them to want to go out for drinks after work. And I would get in my car and go home to my husband. Like it was just natural. And maybe they didn't have husbands at the time or whatever. And when you hear about it afterwards, I had to work really hard on the not taking it personal part because it's also kind of like no way that it can't not be personal in the beginning when when you're transitioning through those thoughts. It's gonna come off personal.
I remember our holiday party this past year. Here's like Sam 10 years later with the backbone and
Mm.
just so focused on your vision and where you know you're going in your role as a boss. Like you hosted a beautiful Christmas party for us
It was
in like
pretty.
it was so pretty. It was a girl world. Like
Go Girl World, it was great.
it was so
It was
fun.
my favorite. I mean, I've had a couple events and things I've done for the girls at Salon Stella that I've loved, but that type of Christmas party was what I just had been like working towards to
Mhm.
host for everybody. And it just spoke like girliness, like you said, girl world, like hairdressers. It was pink and it was delicious and it was beautiful and the place was fun and everyone dressed up and it was just,
It was intimate and
yeah,
it really cultivated like
yeah.
a sense of like us and togetherness and teamwork and unity and like then softness, but also glam. And it was just so nice. I was in the thick of postpartum then.
Yeah,
But
you're right. You showed up, girl, and you did it. And it was, I think the culture, like you had mentioned too, like everyone showing up that night and being excited to show up because sometimes you can be like, oh yeah, she wants to take us here. Like, I think everybody in that moment also was so happy to be in that like atmosphere that it just worked. It wasn't like pulling teeth and stuff. It was fun. It was hard landing on a date to make everyone work, but it was great once it happened.
I remember at the end, we were waiting in the little like valet area,
Yeah.
and all the girls were like giggling about where they're going out to, and they're all going to keep drinking and things like that. And I was going home to pump and see my baby, and you were going home to your family. And I was like, "Are you going out with the girls?" And you're like, "No." Like,
Yeah.
and it's not that you didn't want to.
I wanted to so bad. There was such a part of like that's like fun.
You wanted to
I
be.
want to be fun. I want to continue the fun. But I knew in that moment I was like, they need to go have their fun. Like
Yeah.
they need to go do it.
Because at the end, oh no, because at the end of the day, like you're the boss, and it's really hard because, and I don't want to speak for you, but something that I've noticed about you through the years of working for you and just seeing how you interact, like you've always wanted a place where, yes, there is the line of like, this is a workplace and we all come here and we work hard and we do our best, but also you've always wanted girl world. You've always wanted like, oh my gosh, I found this beauty product that you have to try. Oh my gosh, like even down to like clothes. I remember it's like sisters, like it's almost like sometimes the girls who work for you are like the sisters that you never had. Because I remember it's like the sisterhood of the traveling pants. Like us, like someone bringing like, oh, these jeans don't really work for me. And like 3 girls try them on. Bags of clothes. Yes. And we all just go through it. And it really is like, there's such a sense of community there.
Yeah.
That is like not normal. Like that is not common at all.
I know, and especially I feel it with girls, and I think when you see these salons, you think everybody's friends, but, like, are they? And just like you said earlier, the customers can tell that we have that friendship, but I think over time, the the balance and I don't wanna say, like, a line because a line sounds, like, harsh, but, like, we've figured out the dynamic of, like, we all need our own space too, and I knew in that moment, I was like, "No, I want you guys to go have fun." Like, I gotta go home.
It was Tooth Fairy night. I remember that. Like, and I lost his tooth.
Oh, that's right. You have such a great memory. But yeah, so that was something very hard. And being a business owner, a female business owner, does harden you a little bit. In a good way, I don't think it's a bad thing. I think because that hardening and understanding that part of it, I think is what can make it great and like continue like the path. Because if you can't learn that, it just gets really dicey and rocky, and I think that's where, like, it gets funky with people and toxicness can happen because then there's a little bit of, tension and